So hang on, just like, what are we gonna say on this?
Something about music.
Okay, I just want to get some fucking idea.
Well, I'm going to talk about how I got into music, I suppose, and how it affected my life.
Okay. And then I got to put this down after, it's going to make a noise.
It's okay. I mean, you wanted to do like a strum, did you?
I just saw, as it begins, like a... No, that sounds crap, doesn't it?
No, it sounded alright.
You know. Hang on, it would be like...
Well, I remember, like, Nothing Else Matters was just like...
That was actually the first thing I ever played, but I didn't know it was Nothing Else Matters.
Anyway, this guitar hasn't been tuned in like 10 years, so it's completely out of tune. So I used to try and play guitar, Jim. I don't know if you've had a go. You're more fascinated in the guitar now than the conversation.
No, just... Right. I'm ready when you are.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Welcome
to Dolphin Podcast, ladies and gentlemen. Boys and girls, children of all ages.
I was just playing some tunes on the guitar there.
Yeah, you're going to save the solo for later, Jim.
Well, I'll have to put that down for now and focus on this. So
it's becoming too much of a distraction. By the looks of it, you're just looking at it and you're like, God, I just want to
I'm making sure it's not going to slip over.
Yeah, well, it might. I'm going to pick it up and put it over here just in case, because that will scare the hell out of us.
That is a good idea. It would scare us.
The hell of a crash.
We don't want that.
Have you ever played guitar, though? Have you ever tried to seriously pick it up?
Not really. I've picked one up from time to time when there's one laying around and tried to make a noise.
Yeah.
You know.
But you've never looked at doing chords?
No, I used to play the piano a little bit when I was about 20. I used to have lessons and stuff.
Oh, of course.
When I was a bit younger than that, but always had a keyboard and stuff, but yeah, never really stuck at it, you know.
It's a similar technique, isn't it? With the chords and the hand placement, the finger placement, I think it can be transferred to guitar.
Yeah, I suppose so. How
did you find it? Did you did you make up your own songs?
So, yeah, well, I would often just try to imitate songs by ear. A song that I knew, and then sometimes I'd have to go and look it up on YouTube or something and just see where they were placing their hands. Reading music was difficult though. It was always easier to play by ear. But I would do sort of half and half. I would always try to learn the music as well, because that's kind of essential, I think. But it was great fun. Sometimes I would make up a song. Remember in high school I made up a song. Came home one day, I was telling everybody I made up this amazing song. Nobody was interested. I was about 11, but I thought it was brilliant, you know.
Can you remember it now? Can you remember the name of the song?
No, I can't remember.
Damn it, I was hoping we were going to get a live rendition of this Jim's amazing song.
It was something on a keyboard in the music lesson, you know.
Oh, I think you told me something about this before in the past. We've had a conversation where it was about a music, maybe about a recorder or something.
Oh, well, we used to play the recorder in primary school.
Yeah, everyone did. It's like I don't know if it's like a Newtown or a Welsh or a British instrument that's implemented in schools.
It was mandatory for some reason.
Mandatory recording. What?
Yeah, and I was okay, but if we were doing like the assembly or something, or the parents' evening, I would sometimes just pretend to blow and move my fingers because she knew if you were off, like she knew where it was coming from.
Yeah.
So I would just pretend to blow. But
yeah. I thought you meant you were doing a solo then. Was it just you? Like the focus was on you? Like, welcome Jim and the recorder.
No, I've never done that. No. Although I did once have a solo. Oh, it was awful. When I was in primary school in Canada, I have no idea why we did this. Somebody decided we were going to sing that song from The Lion King, Can You Feel the Love Tonight?
Amazing.
And I had like this big long solo piece. I thought, why have you done this to me? It was absolutely horrific.
On the recorder?
No, it's singing.
Oh.
And I was terrible. I just went really quiet, but I did it. But no, that was awful. Honestly, I do not have a good singing voice, and I didn't then. But
you went for it, man.
Yeah, sort of out of pressure, really. It wasn't much. There was about 5 of us that were singing the song. I mean, I would not have picked that song. You know,
man, sure, a lot of people listening to this now, I certainly have. You've got moments in your life where you look back and things like they made you do in school, and you think, God, as an adult, consenting adult, you wouldn't do that now. You wouldn't choose to do that.
Oh,
Remember gymnastics, jumping on a springboard and trying to do like a leapfrog over the highest one.
Yeah.
And I could do it in practice. But when it came to pressure, it was like I didn't want to do it in front of people.
No.
So I was under a lot of pressure there.
Yeah.
And I did do it and pulled it off a little bit. I scraped my knee on the high jump thing. But, you know what? I was really like, you put in to huge amounts of pressure, I think, as a kid.
It was a lot of pressure.
Whether that's good or bad.
Yeah, I guess it can be both, can't it?
I think it's quite good to, for people to sort of test the boundaries of their own psyche, isn't it, and their confidence. You know, as kids being put into pressurized situations, you know, acting, you know, you're doing school plays.
Yeah, I guess it prepares you for the world, for life in the world, because you face plenty of those situations. But we used to have to do, our teacher used to make us dance, I remember. And it was really horrible, you know. We didn't like it at all, you know.
I definitely haven't picked up any dance moves from anything I've learned in my life.
No.
It's like the first time I feel like I've been electric shocked if I start to dance.
Yeah, so to answer your question, which was, have I ever played an instrument? Not properly or even semi-professionally. I mean, it's like when someone says, can you sing? Well, yeah, I can open my mouth and make a noise. Can you play an instrument? Well, yeah, I could pick it up and make a noise. It wouldn't qualify as playing, though, you know?
But it is kind of art, isn't it, to pick up like an instrument, say guitar, and trying to make your own song out of it, you know? It might not be good, but it's still an expression of yourself, and that's what art is.
And it's amazing just what an hour a day can do. I remember hearing a young guy years ago, I can't think where it was, but I used to hear him on it all the time, and I would hear him progress week by week, and it was quite amazing, actually. You know, hearing him, and he'd be playing this little tune after a week.
So imagine you were doing that at the same time he was doing it. Then in a week later, you'd be like, "Wow, I'm a hell of a lot better than I was at day one."
Well, that's one of the things about it. You think, oh, the time's going to pass anyway, and when 6 months has gone by, you could have progressed in that time.
Yeah, you feel like you're an expert compared to you being an absolute novice.
Yeah.
In 6 months, every day, imagine, or at least maybe 3 times a week, 3 hours a week practicing on the guitar.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure it would build up, man, wouldn't it?
Oh, definitely would.
What is it? Is it like 500 hours or 1,000 hours or 600 hours that it takes to be an expert at it?
It's quite a lot, isn't it? I can't remember the figure, but I was quite surprised when I saw it.
It's years, basically, of everyday effort.
Yeah. And it's, you know, it was very rewarding when I would just go on the piano and play a song and I got it right. It was so exciting. And I thought, what do I like best? Hearing the song played or actually playing it to myself? I could never decide. Probably listening to it, actually. But
that'd be such an achievement. The reason I wanted to play guitar is because I loved Arctic Monkeys and Metallica, you know, the guitar riffs, the power chords, whatever they were.
Yeah.
Even just the finger picking on some Arctic Monkeys tracks. And I just wanted to be able to make that noise, to be able to do it exactly.
Yeah.
It'd be so cool.
Wouldn't it be cool?
It would have been so much fun to be able to pull it off. So you try, and it's so much like disheartening at the beginning.
Yeah.
Bang, bang,
ding,
completely off, and it's like, it's ding, 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 ding. You know, that's what it should sound like, and I mean, it's disheartening, isn't it? But if you can push through, I think like that would be advice to my younger self. Damn it.
Yeah, I guess me too. And I suppose what would we do? It'd be nice to be able to pick it up and play a song now, but I don't regret the fact that I haven't done it. I think there's some old videos of me somewhere actually on my piano. I used to have this old upright piano in my room, and I used to play it, and there is some video. Maybe I could find it, just me like messing around on it, and some of it was pretty good for my standard, you know.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do it now. If I sat down, I wouldn't be able to recreate that. But then I was just doing it all the time, you know. So.
Have you got like a favourite song ever? And it's very hard to pinpoint a favourite song, but
I don't think I could. And even if I could, it would take me a long time to come up with one. No, it'd be so difficult to do that. I mean, if someone said, look, your funeral's tomorrow, pick a song, I'd pick one. You know, obviously I would.
What would you pick?
Oh, God. I'd need, like, to the end of the day to think.
Yeah, you need to think about it.
Yeah.
Maybe maybe next week's podcast we'll start with the answer to that for both of us. But I have a feeling mine's like maybe something Beatles-esque.
Yeah.
I know, Baby You're a Rich Man.
Oh, okay.
Or something like that, man.
If I was going to go down the Beatles road, it'd probably have to be something like Let It Be.
Yeah.
But then that's such an injustice to all the other songs. It's so difficult, and it depends what mood I'm in. You know, if I'm sort of relaxed and I'm gonna have a bubble bath, and then I like something classical or romantic. But if I'm gonna go in the gym, I like Metallica, and that's the great thing about having a wide, varied taste in music. There's something for every occasion
to suit your mood.
I always felt sorry for people some people I grew up with. They only ever listened to like rap or something. It's all they knew, and it brought them a lot of pleasure. But I thought, well, I'd rather have a good palate. You know, it's like food. I'd rather like loads and loads of food, and then just pick at my disposal, as opposed to just, well, I like fast food and salad and that's it.
Yeah,
it's better to like more stuff, isn't it?
I've become so much more relaxed and open to music in the last few months.
Yeah,
I think it's something to do with age, but I'm just like not bothered at all now when I hear a song. There isn't any reaction where it's like, this has got to go off.
Right.
You know, when I was a bit younger and I heard a pop song, it was like, right, get rid of this. If it was like Jonas Blue or someone, or didn't even know if that's their name.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just like an automatic reaction. Like this, turn this off. I don't want this in my mind, in my ears. But now I'm just like, everything's fine. I'm not too fussed about it. It's always about lyrics, though, Jim, for me, when it comes to music.
Okay.
Even if they're like manufactured, you know, in a studio with a group, like a corporate decision, you know, word by word, line by line, almost, you know, just to get this particular message across, usually about love. And, you know, young people falling in love, something like that, maybe even in a goddamn club. But there's still love on your mind, or sex, or, you know, moving in that direction, you know?
Yeah.
That one-on-one company touch. Yeah, even if it's programmed like that, there's still some good, I think, words put together, strung together, that you could make. You know, it's all about your perspective, isn't it? So I can know the intention of a song, which could be like, you know, talking about love, but it's how I perceive those words, you know? Yeah. Say it's written by Satan, you know, and corporate bullshit, that's what Bill Hicks would say.
Okay.
Then still, I don't have to view it as Satan, you know, as it's written by Satan.
No,
it can be up to me.
Yes.
So you've got the power. Well, I feel like, you know, I've got the power to hear a song the way I want to hear it. God damn it, in the moment.
Yeah, there's lots of songs, and they have a meaning to me, and I'm sure that's not what the artist intended.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that would, of course, be the true meaning. I'm not like a postmodernist in that sense. I do think there is such a thing as real, objective meaning to things, but you could certainly interpret that in your own way, because it's art, isn't it? And there's loads of songs I listen to, and they mean something to me that I'm sure, or I listen to some lyrics and I think it means that, and I've never actually looked into it, and I don't really want to, you know.
Oh, you like it being a mystery?
Yeah, because sometimes I have, and it'll turn out, well, he meant this, and I think, oh, I always thought it meant that, you know.
I was telling you about this the other week, man.
I think you were, actually.
Yeah, and there was some lyrics. It's a modern day song. I'm not going to go into what it was,
but
I could hear it, and I was like, oh, that's a really cool message. I really like that. Then I looked at the lyrics, and he said it something differently the way I thought.
Remember.
And I was like, oh, it's ruined now. What a shit song. And I was like, oh, that's such a bad... I'm not going to say bad, but it's such a different message than what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Just because there was an extra word in there, or a word that I thought it was cut short in my mind, but it was actually a longer word, you know. So it changed the sentence. It changed the sentence.
Yeah.
And the point. And I was like, oh, I don't like that point. You know, so it just didn't resonate with me anymore.
Yeah.
So I wish I didn't look at the lyrics, because it would have been a better song, get it?
But then curiosity always kills the cat. You know? And sometimes I've been right. I think, I thought that's what it was about, but... or other times I've said it to somebody and they went, oh yeah, that's a really interesting perspective on it. And I don't think you could actually find out the meaning of some songs. You'd have to go and ask the artist. Like I don't know, like a lot of Pink Floyd songs I used to listen to when I was younger, and I could sort of, I mean, wow, they just hit the spot with me, you know. And I was like, yes, I know exactly what he's singing about, what he's feeling here. But it was really up to you to sort of piece that together. And I'm sure whoever it was, David Gilmour, would have said, well, I meant this at the time, but I don't know.
Sometimes I need to find out what that... When it's so important to me, when the message seems so powerful coming from that artist, I need to know what they're saying just to confirm it. Like, are they that good?
Yeah.
Do they resonate with me that much? I need to know. Do you mean I don't want it to be a fake?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's okay being a mystery, but sometimes it's like, I need to know what they're saying here.
And sometimes I don't know what a song means at all, and I look it up, and I see the intended meaning behind it, and then I like the song even more because of that. I go, oh, now that makes sense. It's like they did that bit of work for me, but I like it. So it's both, I guess. Same with lyrics. You saying about lyrics. I like lyrics and I like the tune, the melody as well. I don't know which I like more. I'm probably more of a melody person, but lyrics are great as well, aren't they? I've had these dilemmas, like if I just had to show music to an alien, or I could just listen to one type of music for the rest of my life, would it just be purely instrumental and music, or would it have some lyrics? And you probably need both for the ultimate experience. I don't know, but I love just raw music, just a piano, just notes, taking notes and putting them together and making something brand new. And it's like there's something really almost creative, like quite literally, like you're creating out of nothing when you do that, you know? You're making something out of what's there.
There's something genius I remember hearing of classical music. It just touches our brain, it stimulates our minds more than, like, let's say, a pop song would.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah, it's incredible. It's like a flipping a quasi-religious experience when you listen to something like Beethoven. It's just like, God, you feel like you're high sometimes with some of his stuff. And then interestingly, years later, my mum told me that when I was really young, like when I was in the womb and when I was in my crib, she always used to play me like Beethoven and Mozart, because apparently it was this thing in the 80s in North America. I don't know if it took off here, but they said, oh, if you played a baby classical music, like it'll be worldly or something like that. You know, it was one of those trends. But I often thought, oh, I wonder if that's why I like it, or if I would have just liked it anyway. You know, I don't know. But I was apparently listening to him before I was even like conscious.
I'm sure raising a child that way would have a huge positive effect.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't just be that your mother would have experimented with. It would have been other techniques to explore, you know, for you to become a whole person exploring your mind.
Yeah.
I would have thought.
Yeah.
That's parenting skills.
And when I listen to something like Beethoven, I'm not very like, well versed in classical music at all, but I do like Beethoven, and I often think when you're listening to it, he was deaf, wasn't he? But he would have heard that in his mind, in his head. And what you're listening to, he would have heard in his own head. And I think, God, that's so amazing.
That's incredible.
Wouldn't have sounded the way it did now with all those instruments and stuff. But I don't know. But do you know what I mean? I thought, God, this came from his head. Isn't that incredible? And it's still here, and he's gone. You know? It's almost like
you're hearing someone's inner thoughts.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Which I think you are all the time anyway, just from your own feelings and stuff. But in that particular manifestation, it's incredible, isn't it? That's one way to live on.
It's mind-blowing, Jim.
How the hell did he come up with that? Like, if someone said, right, sit down and write a symphony, it's like, I wouldn't know where to start.
I would love to have that go, man. You know? I'm sure there's computer games out like that, but yeah, you play that, you're like GarageBand, like, you know.
If I had some technology to help me, but how would you do it in like flipping 1800 or 1700 or whenever it was, you know? It's like, wow. Yeah, he must have just been, I don't know.
I'd be so stressed. At the end of the day, you know, I'd be like scrunching my hair up, going, God, there's too many pieces going at the same time. And you know what you're trying to make, because you're trying to. It's a journey, isn't it? I suppose the classical, you're going up and down, and sounds are coming in and out.
Yeah,
you're trying to explain something. You're trying to say something using instruments. Yeah,
it's just pure creativity, isn't it?
Yeah,
like what's going on? That's what it is. It's like you've just taken all that stuff and put it together into that.
So you take music like that, which is pure, say, expression, pure creativity.
Yeah.
And you look how it's become like monetized in the music industry, where songs are just made just to sell, just to make someone rich. And that's where the whole kind of fame and fortune kind of impact comes from. Beethoven didn't make the music to get famous. He was just experimenting, I suppose, you know, presumably.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So, modern day music, I suppose it's us giving it the power. If we keep buying records that don't really touch the soul, are there for just a quick singing song and dance, you know, something to drink with and party with, then it kind of takes out the meaning of pure music and pure creativity. Yeah, it's become business then. It's business decisions rather than creative expressions.
I think that's why so many people were against Pop Idol or Simon Cowell, whatever it's called. You know, when they had that Rage Against the Machine as number one.
Oh yeah.
Totally got that. You know, it was like, God, how dare you do that to music?
Yeah, so in the UK, for people that don't know, for about 6 Christmases in a row, the Christmas number one in the music charts was an X Factor winner's song. So X Factor would come out, you know, at the beginning of December, and by the time it's Christmas, we've had the final, and somebody's won it, and they released their song. And that was always getting to Christmas number one. So in retaliation, you know, just started on the internet, just let's back Rage Against the Machine, Killing in the Name of. F you, I won't do what you tell me is the chorus. Brilliant. Shouting, yeah, it's fantastic, man. So I bought that 6 times from 6 different companies, like Amazon Music and
I remember at the time,
Apple, iTunes. You know, I just bought it 6 times. It was like maybe 30p or £1 each. But I didn't care. It wasn't about that.
Yeah.
And I thought, God, if everyone's doing this, then you know, it was more like making a point, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Rebelling.
Yeah, and it got to number one, didn't it?
Yeah, and the guy. You know, Rage Against the Machine, they were on BBC Radio 4, I think it was. And supposedly it was like before you play the song, because it was like 4 p.m. You know, when you get to the chorus, don't swear.
Yeah.
And of course, I mean, the meaning, the message behind the song, as soon as he got to the chorus, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me.
Did they do it?
Fuck you. Yeah, he did it.
Okay.
And then after it ended, they had to like cut him out. And then the woman goes, well, I hope they don't make number one. Like, she was really pissed off, you could tell the host there.
I know they came on 5 Live.
Yes.
Because I used to listen to that, and so
yeah, it was 5 Live probably.
Yeah, I mean, it could well have been like some others as well, because I wasn't into Rage at the time, you know, but I remember you were, because I kept seeing it on Facebook, and I listened to them and I thought, what's the big deal with this group, you know? But then a few years later, I really, really got into them big time.
There's only like 2 songs or something, maybe 3 that I know that I would play.
Okay.
You know, I don't get into music like that. I don't really get into bands and albums so much. I don't research them. There's just the odd song that enters my mind that I'm like, wow, cool. You know, but I don't know much about them.
Yeah, I mean, I did get quite into them, and I had a few of their albums. But in the old days, I say the old days, when we were like 12 or 13, I remember you would have to go and buy a CD just because you wanted one song or 2 songs, and you'd buy the whole album. But the great thing about that was, because I spent a lot of time in my bedroom, you know, just by myself, and one of the good things about that was I had a lot of music to just immerse myself in. And so I would listen to an album, and I would end up listening to other songs on the album, and I would find that there was actually like 3 or 4 on the album that I liked, but I'd only bought it for the one song, you know. And then as the internet progressed and we got what was it called, LimeWire, and you could download stuff on there or listen to it on YouTube.
Single tracks.
So I just stopped buying CDs, but I've still got loads and loads of CDs. But that was a really good way to become acquainted with an artist, was to buy the album. And very often a song would come on and within 2 seconds I'd skip it. And then a year or 2 later I'd think, what is that song actually? I'm just going to listen to that. And maybe I'd like it and maybe I wouldn't. But you'd know your favourites. It'd be like track number 2, number 5 and number 7. Those are the only ones on the CD I like.
Yeah.
You know? And then if you had time, you would put them onto... I used to buy these cassette tapes, and they were a special type of cassette tape. I think they were like chrome plated or something. So they lasted longer and the quality was better.
Oh, cool.
And you'd make a little compilation tape of all your stuff on it, you know. Pure gold though, just listening to music by yourself, one of my pastimes, and I still love it. I still love doing that.
Well, supposedly it's the whole part of the journey is to listen to a band's or an artist's album, because it's supposed to be part of the experience. You know, especially I think in older times.
Yeah.
So with internet now, maybe it's more about one-hit wonders and just the odd track that's supposed to be a standout track. But I'm sure, you know, when, you know, if you're an artist or a band, you put together 12 or 14 songs, you want people to listen to them all together, because it's going to send a message, you know, it's a project.
Yeah.
And it's like, welcome to my project. Here we go.
Yeah.
12 lectures on my life right now.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what you're hearing.
I remember the first album I ever saw. Well, the first album I ever bought was Please Please Me by the Beatles.
Awesome.
And that was on LP. And I mean, it was old then. That would have been 96. And it was at a music fair where the Legion is now. But the first album I ever came across was the Sgt. Pepper's album. And my dad had it, you know, on LP. And I didn't know what an album was. And I just thought, oh, this must be like some... You know, like you'd get like the Dandy Yearbook or something. You'd have all the individual comics, and then you'd get the Dandy Yearbook or the Beano Yearbook. And I thought, oh, it must be something like that the Beatles have done. An album, just like some special thing where they put loads of songs on it. I didn't know albums were just commonplace. But that's because it was such an artistic, creative album that it had that feel to it. It wasn't just like an album, it was like some special masterpiece that they'd crafted. So it did feel like something that was more special than an album.
You're talking about Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band.
Yeah, which was an incredibly expensive album to make at the time. I can't think what the cost was, but it was staggering in 1967.
I know it was very experimental, wasn't it? And it maybe broke maybe some records or set some trends, because of their unique style, ways of they making music and experimentation.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's incredible, Jim, like you said.
That was the one. And then my dad had all kinds of CDs and tapes, and so I would just sit there and listen to them on headphones, just one after the other, all this music, and that was like my own little paradise when I was 10 years old.
So, I mean, I was brought up with the Beatles as well, so my mother and father, they just played the Beatles. I think, on Sundays they had a day off. That's what I would hear, and I would hear, Sgt. Pepper's and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise that music was such a big part of people's lives, because I didn't venture out into my own music. I didn't start searching for music and playing my own songs that I fancied until I was about 16, which was really late. And everyone else was already into music. That's like ending of high school, right? And I hadn't really ventured into music before. I remember like sort of Red Hot Chili Peppers, we were into it, and it came with like, drinking alcohol and things like that. And we were singing along to these songs, and I was like, I suppose I'm into music. And I was like, wow, it's such a big part of your life. And I didn't realise that music was because it's a part of everyone's life, isn't it? And I always saw it as like, okay, maybe you've got work, you've got education, you've got marriage, you've got children. God, music's one of those as well. I didn't realise it was such a important point of your life that you carry with you forever. See, I didn't know this, man. So when I was growing up, when it clicked, and I was like, wow, it's such an important part. I didn't realise. I think it should be on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, personally. Some good music, but it is. Even people who, I don't know, you see like people that come across as very straight and boring and conservative, and you get a good tune on and they're tapping their foot. It's like that side of them is coming out, even though they try not. You know what I mean? Someone's reserved.
They're reserved, and they keep themselves to themselves. Yeah, you can bring it out with music. And someone said a while ago, I was listening to, he'd been to a concert, and there was some really like nihilistic punk rockers, and it was just, they were all just engaged in this music. The music was like a call to being that even the most depressed, nihilistic person just could not. It was like a fly going towards the light. It just brings it out in people, and that's what it is. It's like a call to just to be, isn't it?
It definitely taps into
create
this.
And and that is, I think, fundamentally, I've wondered this, is it somehow reflective of the process that brought everything to be? It was kind of like, it's bringing what's the term, habitable order out of chaos in some sense, and bringing something from it, and we instinctively just recognize that, and it's like, yes, this is life, this is being, it's here, it is, in some other form, like sound, something like that. I've thought about it a lot. I don't quite understand it, but almost everybody loves music. I've come across very, very few people that don't listen to music on a regular basis, and those people, maybe there's been a handful of them, and they've been like very extreme fundamentalists in their religion, so music is like they don't do it. That's the only reason. Otherwise everybody loves music, don't they? And it is a thing. It is one of those things, like you say.
A lot of people are into searching for kind of rare bands, rare artists, somebody that will touch their soul, and they find them, maybe Icelandic bands and wherever, rather than just listen to some mainstream, and people get touched by, say, Red Hot Chili Peppers, the first ones for me really, apart from Beatles and Metallica, etc.
That's what's great about the internet, because I found so many bands just on YouTube, just listening to something, and then it goes on to something similar, and you think, wow, like I think it was Nightwish and Within Temptation, those kinds of bands, I found them on YouTube, and really got into them. It's weird because I always liked Nightwish around winter time for some reason. There's something sort of winter about them, but I don't know what that is.
That's really cool. That music touches on your feeling of the season.
It is. Yeah, there's something sort of cold and shivery. That's just my perception, obviously, but YouTube did that. I probably never would have heard them otherwise, because I don't listen to the radio, and I don't think they're played on the radio. I mean, there's the odd time I've heard like. I mean, I used to listen to 5 Live, and occasionally I'd put Radio 2 on at work, but I was never into like the main Radio 1. If I got in the van and it came on, it just always had this sort of loud, sort of busy, just I can't explain it. There's a very definite feel to Radio 1.
They're trying to get to the point really quick in the songs, you know, like this is the immediate emotion we want you to feel.
It was just so fast and loud, and I would instantly turn it off and go to Radio 2. That's where I belonged. But I certainly don't think you would have heard like Nightwish being played on any of those stations. Perhaps you would on Radio 2, because they did used to play some anomalies, and there were a few. Sometimes I'd hear a song, and I'd say, what is this song, you know, and I'd try and pull over and write down some of the lyrics, because they wouldn't always say what it was. Or I try to record it on my phone. I think I have to have this song. This is a brilliant song. And there was one it seemed like a long time. I heard it in about 2006, and I didn't find out what it was until 2008. But it was like 2 years. I wanted to know what that song was.
I was just about to say that. So some songs go missing for years.
Yeah.
And I come across it again. I'm like, oh my god, I fell in love with this song at one moment in time.
Yeah.
I've only just discovered it, and it's this artist. Like, no way is it them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this one, the song was called Blue Savannah by Erasure. And it's not even one of my favourite songs, but I heard it in Spa once, and I was like, oh, that's a really cool song. And I was at this guy's house a couple of years later who I worked with, and he was a big music buff, and he had a jukebox and all these albums and posters all over the wall, had his own little sort of music room. And I said to him, there's this song I don't know what it's called, but I just remember it had the word blue in it, you know? And he said, oh, it's not Blue Savannah. And I typed it in on YouTube, and I said, yes, what are the odds of that? I could not find that. But yeah, that's so annoying when you can't find the song, or you know the song and you think, what's that called? I can hear the tune in my head.
Just like something that stands out to me was recently, man, when I was working on cruise ships, right, I just stepped out and it was like, we were at Coco Cay, this is an island in the Bahamas, and they call it like perfect day at Coco Cay, because it's like 30 degrees, 32 degrees, like blue sky, just sun, you know. So I was just at the gym at the top of the ship, and I'd come out, and I think it was I'd just finished a session, and I sat down in the sun, and there was this music, and there was no one around, it was just me, but there was music over this tannoy, and it wasn't a song that I would choose to listen to, it was sort of like a love song.
Yeah.
But the way I was feeling at the moment, you know, after you've been to the gym and you've got adrenaline, you got different like sort of chemicals, your body's releasing different chemicals, you know, you're entering different states of feeling, sort of hyped up. But the way this song resonated with me at that moment in time, that's gonna stay with me forever, that song.
Yeah.
And only sometimes now and again I'll go back to it and listen to that and be like, wow, that really touched my heart in a different way. So it's cool how songs do that. I say you were in Spa, and for some reason that Blue Savannah song touched me, like what is this? And I didn't know what that song was. It was the first time. It was probably something poppy, but where I was, and because I was in a different place. I think when people are on holidays and you're in a different place in the world, and then you hear this music, you know, it could be like winter again. Yeah. You know, you could be really cold and you hear this song, you're like, oh, that's kind of like the genre for winter for me now.
Yes.
So that song, I'm not going to say what it is, but it just touched me.
Yeah.
And it's something really special about that. And it's like my own little secret. I suppose that's what guilty pleasures are, aren't they, when it comes to song?
They are.
I like Westlife. I mean, I don't. But it'd be like somebody like a man's man, like a Westlife song or a Boyzone song.
Yeah.
He's not allowed to say that.
No, I know. I mean, it's no secret that I like Steps.
I didn't know that.
Talking about sort of cheap like now, don't ask me why, there's just something about them. The older I get, because I know they're hardly like, you know, the pinnacle of like creative genius. It's kind of the opposite of what I would listen to, but the older I get, there's something about them that just takes me back to that time of 99, 2000, being in high school, man. And their music really makes me feel good, and it's like a cheap, impulsive pleasure, but I love it.
Yeah, I think that's why they were so successful, and Spice Girls as well had that same feeling with a lot of people, where it's almost nostalgia as well, though.
So there's like 4 or 5 songs that I like, but I do, and I get bored of it very quickly.
You're getting defensive now. No, there's only 4 or 5. It's not the whole album.
I'm trying to justify myself, but I do. It's like, well, that song does something for me, and it's like what you were saying. It takes you back to a memory or something, or to a place, and it's quite complicated, but and people have teased me about it, but it's like, there's a few songs by Steps on my playlist. There are.
I think it's because of it. I mean, for teasing, it's different, you know, if you're teasing somebody, but it can't be a real judgment, can it? What somebody's interested in.
It's like with food. Maybe it's the equivalent of somebody liking something like Wendy's or something instead of Burger King. I don't know. It's something like...
I think food's a hard one there, but maybe like a movie. Maybe like, you know, a soppy romantic
Glee
movie.
or something.
Yeah, and a guy like, oh no, I love Glee. And he's like a, you know, cage fighter.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, oh, that doesn't seem to make sense. Then again, you're not going to tease a cage fighter, are you?
Probably not. No.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah, I do.
You know, you got that stereotype.
I do know what
certain
you mean.
stereotype of man.
Yeah.
And I suppose it would be seen as like weakness. So there's something to be in touch with your feminine song and dance side.
It would. Even when I was a young boy, though, when I was about... Hang on. I'm trying to think. I remember being about 9 or 10, and my favourite song at the time was A Whiter Shade of Pale by Procol Harum, and I still love that song. And I can remember having this dream where it was playing. I was in school and it came on, or I'd put it on, and everybody was laughing at me in my dream, which was kind of like... That's probably what would happen, you know? And I told my uncle's friend, he said to me, what's your favourite song? And I was 10, and I told him, and he just said, man, he says, you never fail to astonish me, but that was my favourite song. And then my favourite song before that was Queen, I Want to Break Free. And my dad would come and pick me up in his car on the weekend, and I'd always say, play that, and it was on the tape somewhere, you know? Or then Bohemian Rhapsody would come on, and then Bryan Adams, I think it was Everything I Do It For You. That was my favourite song when I was like 4 or 5, you know, and I don't know, I mean, that was just my little kid's mind.
It's interesting, that stereotype that you were aware of, that insecurity, maybe, or the reality of it.
Because it was old, and nobody would have heard of that in 1996.
And then everyone was laughing at you, so in your dream... So I suppose, you know, we can assume, okay, if I say this in public, no one wants to be laughed at, I suppose. That's where the fear is. Well, that's what a guilty pleasure is, you keep it to yourself.
Once in art, in high school, my art teacher, what was his name? Mr. Thomas, but he wasn't there, so Mr. Eames Jones, I think his name was.
I remember these guys.
Yeah, and in the lesson he was playing the Sgt. Pepper's album.
Cool.
And he said, oh, I bet none of you know what this is. And I said, oh, it's Sgt. Pepper's. And he was going, oh, we've got a student over here that knows what this is. And some of the guys were saying, oh, well, he would, you know, he knows all the old crap music. And that's what it was. It was like anything that came out over 5 years ago, they just didn't want to know. But I was like, yeah, you know, I used to listen to this too. And he probably thought nobody would know what that was.
I suppose you're a bit of like an old soul, Jim.
Well, yeah, but I was hesitant to say it. But I thought, no, I have to say it because I want him to know that he's not the only one that likes it. And once I asked my music teacher, he sent me out, actually. That was another time. Because we had like a laminated sheet, and I was shining the reflection of it in his eye.
On purpose?
Right? Well, kind of on purpose. It was on the wall, and I thought, well, I'll just get it on his head. I wasn't doing it to wind him up. I was just playing this little game in my own world. And all of a sudden, he just looked at me and he said, you're shining out of my eyes on purpose, aren't you? I said,
yeah, that's normal. Yeah.
And then he screamed at me, get out of the classroom. Anyway, turns out he had epilepsy. I didn't know.
Oh, shit.
But anyway, I said to him once, what's your... that's another story. I said, what's your favourite song? And he pondered for about 2 or 3 seconds, and he said, Let It Be. And I thought, I like him now because of that, you know.
Awesome.
Yeah. So... And I thought, yeah, it would be something like Let It Be, actually. It kind of suits you, you know.
Yeah, it's an awesome song, man. If I had to pick one of them, that would be my top 10.
And there's 2 different versions.
Yeah.
On the guitar. Yeah, the guitar solo. There's 2 slight variants in it.
Okay.
If you listen to it.
I try to find it live. I search for like Let It Be live. And
never heard a live version.
But it's only like a minute long. And it's Paul McCartney just on the piano, and he's doing it, and they're doing it live.
Yeah, he would have done one like solo, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, I do think maybe it was just him playing.
Okay.
Or maybe I think Lennon and Harrison were around.
If you watch the Let It Be film documentary, they're practicing it in the studio. That's a really, really good version because it's kind of like not complete yet.
Like
raw. Yeah.
I love hearing that, like raw sound. And especially Beatles, a band that's made it so big.
Yeah.
And you go back to like the grassroots, what they're doing in the studio.
Yes.
Breathing.
Yes.
Like, how did they? What?
I know.
You know, because you see the final product.
Yeah.
So when you go through and you see that process right from the beginning,
That's why
fascinating.
The Beatles anthology was so great. I bought that when I was 15, 3 different CDs. Now you could probably just listen to it all on YouTube, but then it was quite rare. And then my dad got the film, and it was just mesmerising to see these like genius guys in this studio, just totally relaxed and chilled, making this magic happen at their fingertips. I was just, oh my god, this is incredible, you know. So, music's been a big part of my life.
Yeah, well, we wanted to introduce like a new podcast, Jim, like called Echoes.
Yeah.
We thought about Dolphin Echoes.
Yeah.
And it's going to be another weekly podcast, but we're just going to focus on one song at a time. So we did it last week, right? And it was just like a random song that I'd heard, and I just wanted to know your opinion on it. And you've got one for me, so maybe we'll take it in turns, or we'll, you know, we'll have to argue or fight about it one week.
Yeah.
You know, maybe have a brawl to the death, or like near.
Okay.
And whoever ends up surviving can choose. So we might have a few days of recovery after the fight to the death.
Well,
but whoever is more like passionate about, you know, no, you need to hear this song. I need you to hear this, man.
Okay then.
If I come across a song, I'm like, no. You know, I would love to know your opinion on this, Jim. Because, you know, you've got an open mind, an open soul. You know, I'd like for you to hear some tracks and get your immediate. You know, I'm not going to give you it like a few days before. It's going to be in the moment. No. You know, it's going to be first impression of a song.
That's always more exciting. Yeah, and there is one in my mind because I was thinking about this, and you're probably going to have more suggestions than me. But I thought, yes, it came on. I thought that's the one I'll play for him. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be something that we even like, perhaps just something that we. Because this song, I think I kind of like it, but it's not one of my favourites. But it's just very, very interesting. And
yeah, it wasn't the first song that I played you. It wasn't about whether I like it.
No.
It was like, this is interesting, man, because it got really popular and really famous, and it broke some records for the longest, like, #1 of all time.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is interesting, isn't it? What do you think of this song?
So I'm just clearing my name. I'm clearing my name so that when I play something embarrassing, well, I don't like it. I just want you to hear it.
So we've got the disclaimer out the way. Yeah. There's no way it can fall back on us and people can judge us.
No.
Like, he likes this song.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's on my playlist for a reason, so I guess I must.
Yeah, there must be something in it. But anyway, so we're going to call it Dolphin Echoes, Jim.
Yeah.
So this podcast has kind of been an introduction into Dolphin Echoes that we're going to start introducing.
Yeah, that'll be a very interesting segment for music fans, which is most people, I guess. But there's a lot we can listen to and dissect. So that'll be an interesting segment. And
I'm looking forward to it, man.
I look forward to it as well.
Anything else you got to say, or we'll wrap it up? We'll wrap this pod up, man.
No, I hope I come to learn some great new music through you, which I have in the past, actually. So.
Well, Rage, I think I got you into Rage. That's pretty cool.
You got me into what was his name? Alex
Turner.
Alex Turner
from Arctic Monkeys, the lead singer of Arctic Monkeys.
He did some solo stuff, didn't he? Which I quite liked.
For the movie Submarine.
And again, whenever I hear that, it takes me back to that time period.
He's a beautiful, that's incredible artist.
It was the Submarine album. I quite liked it.
That's a great film as well.
Yeah, never seen the film, but so I'm sure it's. I always think there must be so much music out there I would love that I just haven't heard. You know, when you discover something new and you wear it out.
Wow.
That there must be so much of that out there.
There's so much. I bet. Like I didn't want to search for it. I want it to like spontaneously come into my life, you know.
Yeah.
At the moment it's supposed to, like a boomerang, just hit me in the face and then go back.
Yeah.
And it's up to me whether to try and chase it down.
Yeah. Sometimes I do search for it. I think I want to discover it now, not when I'm 60. But no, there is something magical about the spontaneity as well, though. Oh, I heard that at so and so's party and whenever 2012, and it was meant to be. I didn't find it; it just came.
Yeah, I suppose like some songs act like a soundtracks to feelings and moments in your life.
Yeah,
that's the soundtrack for that.
Yeah,
which is cool.
You know, Led Zeppelin, Kashmir, that song always takes me back to when I first heard it at this guy's house party. It was such a good house party. I'll never forget it. And that was playing, and me and my mate Si, we were just like, what is this song? This is so cool, you know. And my mate's like, oh, it's Led Zepp. I thought, no way. And so, but yeah, that's just one example amongst many.
All right, brother. So we got Dolphin Echoes coming up. Great to speak to you, man.
You too.
I'll see you next week.
Thanks for listening. Live from the studio.
Yes, Dolphin Studio.
Dolphin
Podcast.